There's a machine you can buy right now that pulls drinking water straight out of the air. It runs on electricity with a compressor, a fan, and a filter system. It costs about $3,000. This does the same thing. I built it for $12. No electricity, no moving parts, no maintenance. And the physics behind it? Someone won the Nobel Prize for it last year. So let me show you how it works, how to build one, and why almost nobody knows about it. You have actually seen this work your whole life. You just never thought about it. That's condensation on your cold drink. That's DUW on your lawn every morning before the sun gets high. That's the spider web doing for free what that $3,000 machine does with a compressor and a fan. The air around you right now, wherever you are watching this, is carrying water. Invisible, just waiting to touch something cold enough to let go of it. There's a temperature called the dew point. When air hits a surface at or below that temperature, the moisture in it turns liquid. It just comes out of the air and starts to drip. That's it. That's everything you need to understand about what I'm about to show you. But here's the thing that kind of blew my mind when I started looking into this. We did not figure it out first. Not even close. There is a beetle in the Namib Desert, one of the driest places on the entire planet, that does a headstand in the fog to drink. It tilts its body into the wind, and the bumps on its back are set up so water forms on some spots and rolls right off others, straight into its mouth. Engineers copied that pattern onto flat surfaces and got over 4 times more water collection. Spider silk, when it gets wet, actually changes shape. It forms tiny knots along the strand that push water droplets in one direction. Researchers built materials that copy that behavior. They pull moisture out of the air non-stop, with no power, and they can be made from plant-based materials. So when I tell you a $12 mesh frame pulls water out of thin air, I'm not doing anything new. I'm just catching up to what beetles and spiders figured out 100 million years ago. And here is where it gets kind of crazy. Last October, a chemist named Omar Yagi won the Nobel Prize in chemistry for building crystal structures that pull drinkable water out of desert air. He grew up in a refugee family in Jordan with no running water at home. As a kid, his job was filling the family's water containers whenever the city turned on the taps for a few hours every couple of weeks. Now he has machines the size of shipping containers, making 1,000 liters a day out of nothing but air and sunlight. What I am building in my backyard is the $10 version of what just won the biggest prize in science. His systems cost millions of dollars. Mine cost $12. Same physics. All right, here's what you need. And I want to be straight with you, this is genuinely it. Shade cloth mesh, about 6 by 6 feet, the kind you find at any garden center or hardware store. About $5. Go for the tightest weave they have. Think window screen, not volleyball net. The mesh is doing all the real work here, so do not cheap out. 4 sections of 1-inch PVC pipe for your frame. $2, maybe less if you grab scrap. Zip ties. You have some in a drawer somewhere. A plastic gutter section for the collection trough. $3 or $4. And a few bricks or rocks to prop it at an angle. About $12 total, give or take depending on what you already have lying around. No special tools needed. And honestly, the hardware store will usually cut your PVC for free if you ask. Frame first. 4 PVC sections into a rectangle, roughly 4 feet tall and 3 feet wide. It does not need to look good. It just needs to hold its shape in some wind. Zip tie the corners, skip the fittings. They are overkill. Stretch the mesh over it. Pull it tight. 0 sag. Zip tie every 6 inches along every edge. Think about how a drum is made. That same tension across the whole surface. Sagging mesh means water pools on top. Pooling water means it evaporates by morning instead of dripping into your trough. Here is the one mistake people always make. They lay it flat on the ground. Don't. Flat means the water sits on top and the sun burns it off. You want to tilt 15 to 30 degrees. Lean it against a wall at a shallow angle. Every droplet rolls downhill on its own, hits the bottom edge, and drips into the gutter waiting below. Set the gutter section right under that lower edge. If you want to run a bit of tubing into a storage container, go for it. It is not required to see this work on night 1. Now, placement. This part matters more than people think. You can build it perfectly and still get almost nothing if you put it in the wrong spot. Face it into the wind, not sideways, not away from it. You want air flowing through the mesh, not around it. Step outside at dusk, feel where the breeze is coming from. That is where your frame points. Get it off the ground. Even a foot helps. Air at ground level is warmer and drier. A little higher up, and you are in cooler, more humid air. Keep it away from wherever the morning sun hits first. You want DW building all night long, and still sitting in that trough when you come out in the morning, not evaporated before your alarm goes off. Set it up before sunset. Walk away. Come back at dawn. What happens overnight is just physics doing what it always does. Temperature drops. Air passes over the mesh and cools with it. When it crosses the dew point, the moisture just comes out. It forms a droplet. That droplet finds another one nearby. They merge, get heavier, and gravity does the rest, down into the trough. By morning, you've got water from nothing. First night, average humidity, mid-50s, no fog, no rain, nothing special about the conditions at all. Just over just half a liter. Sounds small, right? But think about it. Those were about as average as conditions get. Nothing was in my favor. In humid climates, coastal areas, river valleys, anywhere that gets morning fog, people are pulling 1 to 2 liters a night from a setup this size. Scale the mesh up to 10 by 10 feet, and you're looking at real daily output. From something you built on a Saturday afternoon, a family of 4 needs about 8 liters of drinking water a day. Scale this right, in the right climate, and you're covering that from air. No bills, no infrastructure. And here's a number that should honestly sit with you for a while. The atmosphere holds about 13 trillion tons of fresh water at any given time. That's more than all the accessible surface fresh water on the planet, just floating above our heads, and almost nobody is collecting it. Now let's talk about actually drinking this water. Water pulled from the air is pretty clean to start with. It has not touched the ground. It has not run through soil or pipes. So it skips a lot of what makes surface water messy, like bacteria, agricultural runoff, and sediment. But it can pick up dust from the mesh or trace pollutants if you are near a road or factory. Easy fix. It takes 5 minutes and costs about $3. Start with a clean plastic bottle. Cut the bottom off. Flip the bottle so the neck points down. Layer in cotton first, then activated charcoal, which you can buy at many aquarium stores, then fine sand, and then another layer of cotton on top. Pour the collected water into the top. It will drip out through the neck, filtered and much clearer. If you want to be absolutely sure, boil the water, or add 1 drop of plain unscented bleach per liter, then wait 30 minutes. That yields water as clean as treated tap water, and probably cleaner, depending on where you live. The thing about this that keeps sitting with me is just how old it actually is. People have been doing this for thousands of years. I do not mean that loosely. They have found evidence of it going back to around 5000 BCE. That might make this the oldest water technology humans have ever used. The Incas built fog fences across mountain ridges to pull moisture out of passing clouds. Entire cities above the rain line were sustained by catching water from the air. The Canary Islands have been running fog nets for generations. In Chile, mesh collectors supply water to hundreds of villagers. In Peru, right now, communities survive on this because there is no other source. In the 1930s, an engineer in France built a 14-meter stone tower designed to condense water. It was a massive thing. It took over a year to build, and it barely worked. Do you know why? Stone holds heat. It soaks up warmth all day and barely cools by nightfall. Something thin and light that loses heat fast is always going to outperform something massive. That is why a $12 sheet of mesh works better than a tower that took over a year to build. And then, somewhere in the last 100 years, we turned on the tap and forgot all of it. Indoor plumbing spread, municipal water became the default. The tap worked, so the old knowledge just sat on a shelf. But the tap doesn't work everywhere. It doesn't work for everyone. And if the last few years have taught us anything, it's that things we take for granted can stop working faster than we expect. $12, one afternoon, and that knowledge is back in your hands. I don't know your situation. I don't know why you clicked on this. Maybe you're thinking about preparedness. Maybe you're off-grid and this fills a gap you've been trying to close. Maybe you just like building things that actually do something useful, and you found this at 2 in the morning because you were curious. Doesn't matter. Works either way. Right now, the AIR above your head is holding more fresh water than every river on Earth combined. A Nobel Prize winner is spending his life figuring out how to harvest it at scale. And you can build the simplest version of that for the price of lunch. Now you know how. Take care. See you in the next one.